Most people are not truly living. They're only maintaining. They rise each day not with intention, but with inertia. Bound not by purpose, but by pressure. They drift through routines that numb the soul, trading their highest potential for the comfort of familiarity. Their calendars are full, yet their hearts are empty. And beneath all the motion, a quiet truth lingers like a shadow. I was made for more than this. We live in a world addicted to more productivity, more comparison, more noise. And yet, with all the growth hacks, all the motivation, all the books and podcasts and morning routines, most people are still stuck, still overwhelmed, still quietly lost. They're not lazy, they're not broken. They're simply blind to the real problem. Self-development is not about doing more, it's about seeing differently. The Stoics understood this long ago. In a world filled with distractions, chariot races, and political games, they chose stillness. In a time of war and plague and exile, they chose clarity. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth. But his greatest conquest wasn't territory. It was the war within. He wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That quote isn't meant to inspire you. It's meant to awaken you. Because the most radical transformation of your life won't come from changing your job, your city, or your friends. It will come from changing how you see. The mindset you carry is either a cage or a key. And for most people, the bars of that cage are built with 3 words. I have to. I have to go to this job I hate. I have to please people who drain me. I have to keep going even when I'm breaking. But the truth? You don't have to. You choose to. And buried beneath that choice is a belief. A belief that says you're not worthy of peace unless you earn it. A belief that says your time isn't yours. A belief that says your life is a to-do list for someone else. Today, we challenge that belief. Today, we question everything that's been quietly ruling you. Because self-development, real radical self-development, isn't about stacking more on your plate. It's about removing the lies, the stories, the mental clutter. It's about coming home to who you were before the world told you who to be. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And your reactions begin with your mind. That's where the shift must begin. So in this journey, we'll uncover the invisible traps keeping millions stuck on repeat, the Stoic teachings that unlock inner freedom, the one mindset shift that doesn't just motivate, but liberates. Whether you're trying to escape burnout, reinvent your life, or simply hear your own thoughts again, this video is your invitation back to you. The version of you that is calm in the storm. The version of you that acts, not reacts. The version of you that no longer bows to every pressure. Because radical self-development isn't a sprint. It's not even a journey. It's a shedding, a remembering, a return. So take a deep breath. Let the world fall silent. And ask yourself, what if everything you need to grow is already within you? Most people believe they're free. But look a little closer and you'll see invisible chains. Not around their wrists, around their minds. The chains of limiting beliefs, of unquestioned expectations, of silent fears passed down like heirlooms from one generation to the next. They say they want to grow. They say they want change. But change threatens comfort, and most would rather suffer familiar pain than risk unfamiliar peace. As Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The fears that hold people back rarely come from the present moment. They come from the stories they keep replaying in their minds. What if I fail? What will they think of me? I've never done this before, so I must not be capable. These stories are like fog on the mirror. You can't see who you really are through them. And without clarity, you can't move forward. Limiting beliefs are powerful, not because they're true, but because they're unchecked. One man says, "I'm just not a confident person." Another says, "I've never had discipline." Another, "That kind of life isn't for someone like me." But who told you that? Where did you learn it? And more importantly, why did you stop questioning it? You were not born afraid. You were not born with doubt. You were born with fire, with wonder, with the pure potential of choice. Every limitation you carry now was learned, which means it can be unlearned. Another problem? Most people tie their self-worth to external validation. They only feel valuable when they're praised, only feel safe when they're accepted, only feel enough when others approve. That's not development, that's dependency. Marcus Aurelius warned us, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." So many people perform a life instead of living one. They choose careers, relationships, and habits based on applause, not alignment. And when the applause fades, so does their sense of identity. Fear of change is natural, but fear of regret is worse. And here's the brutal truth: you will never outrun yourself. The beliefs you refuse to face will quietly dictate your every move. The fears you bury will shape the ceiling of your future, and unless you challenge them, you'll keep rebuilding your prison brick by brick with your own hands. But the Stoics gave us a way out. It begins not with a dramatic transformation, but with one question: what is actually within my control? This is where most people fail. They try to control outcomes. They obsess over opinions. They rage at the uncontrollable, then collapse in despair. But Stoicism offers a different approach. Epictetus taught, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." If you want radical self-development, you must release the illusion of control over the outside world and redirect that energy inward. Because the only real obstacle is the one in your mind. The next chapter will uncover how a single shift in that mind can unlock the clarity you've been searching for. A shift from fear to focus, from noise to stillness, from victim to builder. That shift is where your freedom begins. Let's go there next. Chapter 2, The Shift, From Fear to Inner Power. Something changes the moment you realize you are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not the sum of every past mistake or every missed opportunity. You are the one who sees, the one who chooses, the one who decides whether this moment defines you or refines you. The Stoics knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The nature of the shift. The shift doesn't come all at once. It's subtle. Like a sunrise, quiet at first, then undeniable. At first, it's a question. Why do I believe this thought? Is it true? Is it useful? Then a pause, a breath between stimulus and response. And in that pause, you begin to choose your life rather than react to it. This is the mindset shift. From reaction to response. From blaming to owning. From waiting to becoming. Reclaiming your mind as your strongest asset. Epictetus once said, "Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them." Most of us live trapped inside automatic reactions. Someone insults us, we rage. We fail, we quit. We feel fear, we freeze. But what if we looked closer? What if we trained ourselves to examine each emotion like a wise investigator? What does this fear want to teach me? Is this emotion a signal or just noise? Am I reacting or responding? You begin to take your power back the moment you stop believing every thought that crosses your mind. Turning obstacles into power. Here's what makes this shift radical. It doesn't stop at mindset. It transforms your relationship to adversity. The Stoics believed that every challenge was a chance to practice virtue, every obstacle an invitation to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius again. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's not just poetic. It's a blueprint. When you stop seeing obstacles as curses and start seeing them as craftsmen, shaping you into something stronger, everything changes. You stop asking, "Why me?" You start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" From scarcity to self-mastery. Here's another truth that people rarely say out loud. Most of us think too small. We ask life for scraps because we believe that's all we're worth. We hustle for validation, beg for permission, and shrink ourselves to fit someone else's comfort zone. But the Stoics teach a different path. The inner life is the only kingdom worth ruling, and virtue is the only crown worth wearing. You don't become powerful by controlling the world. You become powerful by mastering yourself. Self-mastery isn't about perfection. It's about presence, about showing up fully, with honesty, with integrity, with courage, even when it's uncomfortable. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The radical shift is simple but not easy. To stop blaming time and start mastering attention, because your attention is your most precious currency, and where it flows, your life follows. Focused attention becomes discipline. Discipline becomes momentum. Momentum becomes identity. And suddenly, the person you thought you had to become is who you already are. The shift is a choice, every day. This is the mindset shift that powers radical self-development. From helplessness to ownership, from fear to practice, from scattered effort to aligned action. You don't wait for the right mood. You choose the right mindset. You don't pray for ease. You prepare for difficulty and welcome the fire that forges you. You stop chasing control over everything and begin practicing command over yourself. This is not a one-time transformation. It is a daily commitment, a vow to yourself renewed each morning, sealed each night. The next chapter? It's about the moment, the pivotal instant when everything finally clicks. When you realize that this isn't just a shift, it's a new way to live. Let's walk into that moment together. Chapter 3. The Climax. the mindset that changes everything. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. The moment that changes everything does not always come with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives in silence, a quiet realization that the battle you've been fighting has never been with the world, but with yourself. This is the turning point, the place where radical self-development begins. Not with more goals, more grinding, more doing, but with one powerful shift in perspective. The shift is this: life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Every obstacle, every delay, every rejection is not an interruption to your path. It is the path. This is not a motivational slogan. This is the marrow of Stoic philosophy. This is amor fati, the love of fate, the mindset that accepts everything and transforms it. Seneca wrote, "A good person dyes events with his own color and turns whatever happens to his own benefit." What happens if you begin to believe that the detour was never a mistake, that the heartbreak wasn't punishment, but purification, that the loss didn't weaken you, it revealed what you truly needed to grow? The most radical mindset shift is not positive thinking. It is not denial of pain. It is a reverence for it. Because the Stoics knew the truth. Life is not about comfort. It is about becoming. And becoming requires pressure. Just like the sculptor carves away marble to reveal the form within, life chips away at you, not to destroy, but to define. When you begin to see life this way, the chains of helplessness fall. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" That is the power of shifting your mind from victim to vessel, from resistance to resilience. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about understanding that every imperfect moment is raw material, and you are the artist. You are not powerless. You are not behind. You are precisely where you are meant to be, holding the tools to chisel greatness from what remains. Radical self-development doesn't begin with mastery. It begins with ownership. It begins when you stop seeing life as a storm to survive and start seeing yourself as the sailor, learning, adjusting, growing stronger with every wave. So now, let me ask you, what would change if you stopped seeing problems as signs of failure and started seeing them as invitations to rise? Chapter 4. The practice. How to build the mindset daily. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. A mindset is not something you wake up with. It is something you return to again and again. Like a path in the forest, it must be walked daily to remain clear. Without practice, the weeds of doubt return. Without reflection, the storms of emotion take hold. Radical self-development, at its heart, is a discipline of the soul. It is not built through grand gestures, but through small, sacred choices made consistently. The Stoics were not philosophers of thought alone. They were philosophers of action. They journaled, reflected, fasted, meditated, served others. They trained their perceptions like a warrior trains the sword. So, how do you begin this practice? Here are a few simple but transformative ways. 1. Morning intention. Prepare the mind before the world enters. Begin each day with a pause, Not your phone, not the news, but yourself. Ask, what can I control today? Who do I want to be today? Marcus Aurelius would write in his meditations, preparing his mind for rude people, loss, delay, and insult. He rehearsed adversity, so it didn't surprise him, so it didn't control him. You too can rehearse your response before life begins to press you. 2. Negative visualization. Fortify the soul against surprise. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, not to live in fear, but to strip fear of its power. Seneca said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Imagine the obstacles before they arrive. See the worst, not to dread it, but to prepare your strength. And when life brings difficulty, you will not be shaken. You will be ready. 3. Journaling. Build a relationship with your inner life. Write not for the world, but for your soul. Empty the noise of the day onto the page. Ask, where did I act against my values? Where did I let fear win? Where did I stand tall in virtue? The page becomes your mirror. It reflects back the truth, without judgment, without flattery. And in that truth, you find the map to your next step. 4. Evening reflection. Close the day with wisdom. At night, do not drift into sleep as a stranger to yourself. Review your actions. Celebrate what was noble. Adjust what was not. Forgive your flaws, but do not excuse them. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to become whole. 5. Anchor in virtue. Choose principle over preference. When you don't know what to do, return to the virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. Ask, what is the wise choice here? What is the courageous one? What would be just, not just for me, but for others? These 4 principles are your compass. When the winds of doubt rise, they will not fail you. The Stoics believed we are not disturbed by events, but by the judgments we hold about those events. So train your judgments, refine your lens, filter the world through reason, not fear. This is the practice. It is not exciting, it is not glamorous, but it is freeing. It is the quiet work of building an unshakable inner fortress. Chapter 5. The Reward. A life aligned with purpose. No man is free who is not master of himself. What is the reward for all this work? For the journaling, the restraint, the hard choices, the constant realignment of mind and soul. It's not applause. It's not a prize. It's peace. A kind of peace that can't be bought or borrowed. The kind that only comes when your actions reflect your principles, when your outer life aligns with your inner values. The world may still swirl with chaos. There may still be conflict, betrayal, pain. But inside, you stand unmoved. You no longer react from fear, but respond from virtue. And that is rare. That is power. Because most people live according to the winds around them. They adjust their sail to every opinion, every expectation, every fear of rejection. But the Stoic sets their anchor deep. They don't need validation to act rightly. They don't need agreement to know their worth. They are self-governed. Imagine the freedom of not being controlled by what others think. Imagine the freedom of being able to say, I am content with who I am because I live in harmony with what I believe. That is the reward. You may not be the loudest in the room. You may not be the most liked or the most followed, but you will be whole. And in a world built on masks and performances, wholeness is radical. When you choose the Stoic path, you stop measuring success by results and start measuring it by integrity. A job well done is not defined by applause. It is defined by whether it honored your highest self. A life well lived is not measured by trophies, but whether you chose courage over comfort, wisdom over impulse, virtue over vanity. As Marcus Aurelius said, just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. The Stoic reward is this: to go to sleep at night with no conflict in your conscience, to rise in the morning with a mission that is yours, to face criticism without collapse, to walk through loss without losing yourself, and most of all, to realize that you need far less than you thought, because everything you truly needed was within you all along. That is the reward of radical self-development. Not perfection, not invincibility, but presence, purpose, peace. Chapter 6. Becoming the architect of your life. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. You've journeyed far in these past few minutes, not just through ideas, but through the deep inner terrain of your own life. We began with the question, what if the key to radical self-development wasn't more hustle, more books, or more advice, but a single, quiet shift in mindset? That shift isn't loud. It won't trend on social media. It won't win you applause at first, but it will liberate you. Because when you stop chasing what is outside of you and begin cultivating what is within, you become something rare. A person rooted in purpose, unafraid of rejection, unshaken by failure, unbound by ego. You become whole. Radical self-development is not about building a shinier version of yourself. It's about uncovering the truest version of who you've always been. You strip away the noise. You silence the inner critic. You stop negotiating your value. You become the architect of your own life, brick by brick, thought by thought, action by action. As Epictetus reminded us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the Stoic path. This is the call. Not to become perfect, but to become present. Not to control the world, but to master your mind. Not to chase comfort, but to walk courageously through discomfort, because that is where growth lives. The world doesn't need more people pretending. It needs more people practicing. It needs more souls who refuse to be shaped by fear and choose instead to be shaped by virtue. You have that power. Right now, you can begin. Not next week, not after the next failure. Now. You can start by asking one question the Stoics ask themselves daily. Is this within my control? And then act accordingly. You can begin journaling, reflecting not on what happened, but how you showed up. You can begin building the discipline of your character, one decision at a time. You can begin walking a path not shaped by reaction, but by intention. And if this journey speaks to your soul, if something in these ancient words stirs something ancient within you, then I invite you to go deeper. Subscribe to this channel, not just for more content, but to commit, to choose a community of quiet warriors, of Stoic seekers and philosophers in practice. And in the comments below, share with us, what is one mindset shift that changed your life? What inner transformation are you working on right now? Because this isn't just a channel, it's a sanctuary, a forge, a lighthouse for those seeking clarity in the fog of modern life. And your voice Your experience is a light others need. So say it with me one last time. Radical self-development begins not by changing the world, but by changing the lens through which you see it. And that lens is shaped by your mindset. Choose it, guard it, live it. This is your path now. Walk it well.